Welcome to Red Zone DFS Week 8. Oh my, 8? I can't believe it's Week 8.
I was told there would be no math.
I usually look at the top of the screen here, and Vinny has like NFL Week something, and I looked up and it just says NFL Stream.
That's because I forgot what week it was as well.
He set me up. So, but hey, Vinny's
It's
back.
Week 8. It's Week 8.
Vinny's back from his work trip. The hangover, I think, is still riding. But me and Jimmy happen to have the tripod back, not have to hold us up on two legs. So we're ready to get into this. Vinny needs help on quarterbacks. So that means his quarterback pool is, how many games do we got this week? Do we got a 12-game slate, 13-game slate?
There are no buys. So
no buys.
13 games.
Big slate.
So Vinny probably has a 26-player quarterback pool.
Nope.
So we're gonna have to narrow that down in the first 20 minutes of this show here. So we're gonna get into it. So let's do it. Jimmy, I'm gonna let you lead off at the top here with our quarterbacks. Who's your favorite here in above 7,000? So Burrow and up. Who's your go-to guy?
Same guy as last week, Josh Allen. And I have no idea. He's going to be, and now I just pulled up the ownership, and he's projected to be the lowest owned quarterback above $7,000. And I have literally no idea why. Maybe it's because people think that he's like a tough stacking option. Nobody says you have to stack him. You can play him with one guy who I've been playing, I think, every week for the last 6 years, who we'll get to later. But yeah, it's Josh Allen, 7,800. It's expensive, right? But on a 13-game slate, you'll be able to find value wherever you need it, right? It's not going to be a problem this week. And he's playing the Seahawks. Now, look, I know Joke Cousins couldn't do anything against the Seahawks because he just decided, I don't know, maybe he was spending too much time at Magic City, really embracing that Atlanta lifestyle. But the Seahawks, they're terrible. And Josh Allen is just an absolute machine. And when it comes to fantasy, the big kicker with quarterbacks is the rushing upside. And Josh Allen has that, right? I get Lamar has it too, right? But Lamar's not playing the Seahawks. Lamar's playing the Browns. And, I'm just going to keep rolling with Josh Allen. It's pretty simple. I don't get why people are going away from it. So that should make it easy for you, Vinny.
Okay. I like that up top. Joe, what about you? I'll go third here. I'll bat third in this.
All right. I'm going with Jordan Love. And the reasoning is the Jacksonville Jaguars they're just not a good team. Their defense
is terrible.
They're really bad. And what I'm loving about Jordan Love, and the best comparison was, he's just Brett Favre. He's going to throw 3 touchdowns a game plus no matter what. And there's a high chance he throws 3 picks. I don't care. Because he's going to go over 300 yards. He's going to have 3 touchdowns. It's just what Jordan Love does. He takes risks, and they throw the ball all the way to the end, whether they're in the game, ahead, or behind. It doesn't matter. So Jacksonville is coming back to home after being in London, foggy London town for 2 weeks. They're going to have some jet lag. And I think Green Bay just absolutely throttles them. And this is the week that Doug Peterson gets fired. So Jordan Love with the dagger. Send it.
Wow.
Bold call.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Up here at 7K, I mean, most of the guys that I like are a little bit lower. So if I was going up top, Love was the one that I was eyeing. I actually think Jacksonville can put up some points here a little bit. They're looking a little bit more respectable as a team. Not saying that this isn't the end for old Dougie down there, but they're not a complete tire fire where Trevor Lawrence is throwing for 111 yards anymore. Brian Thomas looks really good. The offense is rolling a little bit, not rolling, but they're actually serviceable, right? So I think this one definitely, like you said, Joe, Love's at home. They were home last week. Good matchup. Jackson, they can't stop anybody. So I like that, but I also like the Bills call, Jim, because I do think Seattle tough at home. They are going to put up a fight in this one. So I like both of those guys up top for sure.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I'm looking a little bit lower just because, like you said, Jim, obviously huge slate. There's some big I mean, especially at running back, it's so loaded. I want to try to get as many of these guys as possible to line up, and it's hard to do that when you're obviously paying up at quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So,
And Jim,
but there's value. Like, it's just all about how you want to build this week. So,
Yeah.
ownership is the Washington Chicago game getting with all the buzz around the Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. A lot of people just really excited to watch that game. How is that tracking on the DFS side? What's our ownership?
So right now the projections have Jaden Daniels is out because he still hasn't practiced this week. Which if that's true, then that can change things. Caleb Williams coming in about 7% owned. It's probably a good thing that this is a 13 game slate, because some of these guys I think would be like Love that you guys mentioned is also carrying about 7% ownership.
okay.
I think that the ownership at quarterback would be a lot more concentrated if it wasn't such a big slate.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, Caleb, I think Caleb's a decent play at 7,000 or at 6,000 at 7% owned. But yeah, I mean, that mid range there is definitely interesting. I think that as we go through this, I think that the Miami and Arizona game is going to get a lot of looks because all the Miami guys are priced as if Tua wasn't playing.
Well, that's it. And that I'll just lean into that. Like, I think it's just a spot that you have to look to. Like, Arizona's not stopping anybody. I mean, Justin Herbert with that like horrific, array of weapons just threw for what, like 320 or 350 on these guys. Like,
yeah,
dude, Tua's in a great spot. How long he can make it, I don't know. But
I mean, he could be a cabbage next week. I don't know. We might be entering him into the state fair as the largest cabbage, right?
But all I know is Tyreek Hill is 7K. So I'm expecting him to be massive chalk, and I really don't care. Like,
and he also said, "Play me this week in fantasy." Tyreek's calling his shot.
I mean, 7K. We'll get to that, but that's why I do have some moderate interest in Tua down here, because I think this could absolutely blow up for sure. So
okay, well let's stay up here above Tua before we get down there. So Cousins through Stroud. Is there anyone in here that you're feeling?
Not really, man. Not me. I like Cousins and. I'm sorry, not Cousins. We just talked about Tua and below. I've got guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be playing some Kyler. And I might even just play him naked, or I'll play him with McBride. But he's just running the ball so much that it's pretty impossible to get away from him at 6,400. Kyler presents the same type of scoring upside in a game like this that Lamar has. Okay. Now I'm not saying that he, is going to produce like Lamar, but he's $1,600 less. And in a game where I think that, Baltimore, why I'm not really interested in Lamar, I don't think they're going to have to fucking do very much. I think the defense could score, 2 or 3 touchdowns against Winston, just fucking chucking it around, and they're humming right now. And if I can get the same type of potential outcome out of Kyler at 6,400, I'm definitely going to take some stabs at that, just because the run backs on the other side are really attractive in that game. And, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think is one of those players that, for stacking purposes, in a game that I think overall is going to be pretty chalky, I don't think he's going to be very highly owned. We'll see when we get to receiver, but I definitely have interest in Kyler. Up in that little like mid-range, I guess, for quarterbacks.
I think that's a good call. Everybody's down on Harrison, rightfully so. Like, he dropped that big pass towards the end of the game and stuff. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's not interested. He's like totally like checked out." Dude, the guy was open on like 4 or 5 like balls that were probably touchdowns. That Kyler and we all know, like, we call it every week. Like, he's going to get the ball. Like, they're going to feed him to get him back engaged, to get him back into the game plan. So I think that's a pretty sneaky call, Jim. Like, I don't think a lot of people are going to go like Kyler, Harrison, and Tyreek if you're going to do it,
Nope, not at all. And I'm more than happy to do it. Tua is probably not going to be scrambling a whole lot. And again, If he is, he could turn into a cabbage by the end of the game. We'll just plant him in the fucking field right there, and he can start growing like a vegetable. And, so yeah, Kyler 6,400. Well, I mean, look. Is it harsh if it's the truth? I mean, I don't know. So,
but there's one other guy before we go down low. I think we got to take a look at Mahomes this week going against the Raiders. There's this whole narrative like the Raiders play the Chiefs so well, all that, right? Look, they do. But this Raiders team is bad. They are lost. They are bad.
He's finally turned the corner, folks.
And look, the Raiders are they're talking shit in the media this week about like, we're not scared of Mahomes. We're not scared of the Chiefs offense, all this stuff. And they're like talking shit. And it's like, you guys are awful now. Like if there's a week for Mahomes to just get right and throw like 5 touchdowns, it would be this week.
Don't forget that video went viral too of them in training camp, like making fun of his voice and stuff. Like, I know that's really stupid. And like the Chiefs are going to win anyways, but like, yeah, the challenge with Mahomes is like, who do you pair him with? I think you
just Kelsey.
Dude, honestly, Andy Reid came right out, was like, no, Hopkins is playing. Like, they're just going to draw plays up on the huddle, like, and just get him the ball. Like, I don't think
of course he's going to play.
He plays backyard football.
Well, and look, Mahomes plays backyard football, and he does the best throw it up ever, right? We saw it with like Tyreek for years. I just see, and DeAndre Hopkins probably makes the most clutch catches in the game in the last decade. And I can just see Mahomes just throwing balls up and Hopkins just nuking and just making huge catches. And everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, here they are. This is the team that we were used to seeing, and they're just going to pummel them this week. So Mahomes, he's not the best fantasy play typically, the best DFS play typically, but I feel like there's a lot of things working in his favor this week. And I can just see him smashing.
Yeah, I could definitely see
it's not because the Raiders are staying competitive, just like 5 touchdowns in like the first half.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
All right, moving down.
You mentioned Caleb. I do have interest in Caleb. I do. Coming off a bye. Washington's pass defense is nothing special.
Yeah.
Jim, a few weeks ago, you played him. I didn't, and I was like kicking myself for it. But he's really starting to get something going with DJ Moore. He should be hopefully building some more rapport with Keenan Allen, who missed the first couple weeks. You got Cole Kmet there. I think it's a pretty good spot for Caleb Williams, to be honest with you. So
I agree.
I like that. And then I got more guys down low, baby.
I mean, how can you, again, we're talking about quarterbacks that have rushing upside, right? The guy who's starting to kind of come into his own a little bit is Bo Nix.
Yes,
I mean, he's playing well. He's not putting up like these gaudy numbers, but for a guy who's going to run around a little bit and is playing, I know that the Raiders are bad, Joe, but the Raiders beat Baltimore somehow. So it means on some level, they're like,
I mean, they're still an NFL team.
Yeah, I know, but they're light years better than the Carolina Panthers are. Panthers are going back,
even though the Panthers beat the Raiders.
Yeah, the biggest concern I have is that the Panthers are going back to Bryce Young, and I don't know, but I've got interest in Bo Nix. I like stacking Nix with Javonte Williams and Troy Franklin this week is my Denver stack. That if I'm going to play them, that's how I'm going to play it. But I definitely have interest at 5,600. I think it's going to be a decent spot where you can get cheap, and it's a cheap stack too if you go with those 3 guys.
That's where I'm leaning as well. And it's just because everyone always talks about it, but like opportunity cost, like if this guy can get you 20, 22 points, which he's done a few times this year.
That's all you need.
Like, just look at the high priced quarterbacks. Sure, Josh Allen could nuke and Lamar can nuke. And you're like, oh no, now I'm in major trouble. But so is the rest of the field. The 82 or 88% of the people didn't play those guys.
Definitely.
And just look at like Jalen Hurts, like 22 points last week. CJ Stroud's been bad. Burrow's been bad. Like I'll save $2K and just play the 5K guy who's going to get me there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So I like Bo Nix quite a bit.
Same. And then the next guy is our boy Jameis.
We're riding with Jameis, baby.
Of course I am.
Jim, what's he going to be owned? Because everyone wants to play Jameis.
I don't know if I can do it this week, but
I'm not.
You know he's going to just throw it.
5%.
Okay, then
yeah. he takes shots. He wants to like change the energy of his team type of player. Like, dude, the guy is gonna just go for it at all times.
Did you see the quote that he had? He said,
Which one?
"I'm gonna go out and show the NFL why I'm a great quarterback this week."
Hey,
dude, but think about it. Like, this guy's been like exiled for 5-6 years now. Like, this is his chance to like kind of wake up some people to be like, dude, I deserve a starting job somewhere next year. Like,
I mean, the guy
quarterback play out there.
He's not. He can throw the ball, right? So, like,
sure.
my only concerns are who's exactly he throwing the ball to.
I got a guy for you, but
that's the thing, right? You can get really cheap with it, and I just see Cleveland like rallying up this week. Like, okay, Deshaun's out, Winston's like a preacher in a church. Like, did you see Jerome Ford's quote as how he calls plays in the huddle?
Mm-hmm.
He was just the way he calls plays in the huddle is like he's like preaching like a sermon or something.
Yeah, he's like trying to motivate people every play call.
Like, this guy is just,
but
he's such a character. Like, I gotta have something.
All jokes aside, he is like the perfect fantasy quarterback or DFS because like he might throw, like you said, Jim, 2-3 picks, but like he's gonna keep chucking and we don't need a lot from him down there.
He is
200, I think he's fairly safe 15, 18 points here. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think you get 3x no matter what from Jameis.
Dog pound's going to be going wild for Jameis. All right.
They will. If he wins, if they beat Baltimore, Jameis is going to be the unsung hero of Cleveland. It's going to be
build him a statue?
I think so. Maybe in the lake, coming out of the lake like the Statue of Liberty.
I only have interest in one other guy down here. Do you guys have interest in anybody else?
No. Who's your other guy?
I will play some Mariota if he's playing.
Oh, okay.
Just because that game, again, like I think Kingsbury's got that offense rolling. Mariota's like obviously not nearly as talented as Daniels, but like, and I know he shredded a horrible Carolina defense.
Chicago's a pretty fucking good defense, dude.
They are, but like Kingsbury's offense is just get the ball out quick, find the open zone, like move the chains. He's gonna run around a little bit. Like, again, we don't need a ton from these guys down here to like make it somewhat serviceable.
I think Jaden plays this week.
I don't know, man. He
hasn't practiced yet.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue.
Maybe, I don't know, but
it's a rib. It's fine.
All right, that's all I got down here.
Right,
I won't do a full sermon on Marcus Mariota.
I mean, Vinny, your reasoning is fine, but my only thing is that like, why wouldn't you just play Bo Nix for the same price, basically?
No, I get it.
$300 more versus the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah,
when you're playing the Bears off of a bye. I don't know. I would just rather pay the $300 more and play Bo Nix and leave the Marcus Mariota experiment to somebody else. Apparently.
All right,
just take him out of your Just take him out of your massive player pool that you have.
I've got plenty of quarterbacks. I can ditch them. It's okay. I won't be hurt, guys.
Vinny's quarterback portfolio is always quite robust.
It's okay. just trying to diversify people.
Yeah.
All right.
Big
running back, dude.
Right,
running back is loaded.
Vinny, let's lead you off with the running backs. When you're not confident in your quarterbacks, you smash on your running back. So who's your guy up here at top?
Well, I'm going to continue playing Joe Mixon as much as humanly possible. I know he's not, one of the two guys above 8K. I think
that's fine.
I don't know if you guys have a strong take on either of them. I mean, I think they're both.
No, we can go 7,500 and up.
Okay.
We talked about this last week. The Colts can't tackle, right? Even the Miami running backs last week, they did very well. They just all split carries, but Mixon's getting the rock.
Mixon
every single play.
Phenomenal. And they're just feeding him the rock.
Yep.
So it's very obvious Stroud is not the same guy with Nico Collins out. Like, I'm just going to keep playing Joe Mixon. They're at home. He should get a ton of usage here.
No, yeah, and look, their offensive coordinator comes from the same like Shanahan tree, right? Where it's like everyone thinks they got these like crazy dynamic pass offenses, and the reality is they have insanely strong running games, and they rely on the run to open up the pass.
Yeah,
and they have weapons all over the place where they can't stack the box.
Yeah,
Mixon's going to continue getting 25 plus carries a game, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I like that a lot.
Joe, who are you going to 7,500 and up?
I feel like we just got to keep riding Saquon.
That's
it's insane. 17 carries, 176 and a touchdown last week.
In like 3 quarters, basically.
And look, that Giants defense is not bad, right? We talked about it last week. They're not this horrendous defense. Like they have a really good D line, right? And Cincinnati's defense has been, to say the least, shaky.
Not
right? They're not good. They have no depth. So every time they have to rotate anyone on the D line, they're playing like a third team defense, right? So Saquon at the top, and his price really isn't moving. It's interesting. You see these running backs that usually go off at this time of the year. They're up in that 9K range, 9,500. Yep. He's still at 300. It's cheap.
But I think the challenge is there's so many guys going off. I mean, like, dude, what Derrick Henry's doing this. The guy looks like he's 24 years old.
Yeah, but like if you go and like actually watch the Derrick Henry games, he's doing it in these huge chunks.
I know, okay? I get it, but he's doing it every week.
I would rather go to Saquon because I just think that that's a game in Cleveland where like I don't think it's going to be this dynamic, high-scoring game, which is why I don't have a ton of interest in Winston either. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be like a slog it out, like Baltimore wins like 20 to like 13 or something like that, mm-hmm. right? And for $200 more, I'm going to get a guy in Saquon who's game script proof, right? Like they've talked about it in Baltimore. Like we didn't bring Derrick Henry in here to give him the ball 22 to 25 times. Like we're just not going to do that. They play Justice Hill a ton. They have Rasheen Ali, who's now going to be healthy this week, and I believe he's going to play. Like they're going to try and work some of these guys back in because they're trying to win a Super Bowl and they need Derrick Henry to do that, plain and simple. So it's not that I don't like Derrick Henry and it's tough to ignore what he's doing, but I would rather just go on a site like DraftKings. If it was FanDuel, I would probably side with Derrick Henry over Saquon, but I think that the Bengals are going to be able to keep this game competitive, unlike the Giants last week. And Saquon put up 30 points playing 3.5 quarters. So he plays a full fourth quarter. He's into the 40-point range. I would just rather go there this week than Derrick Henry. But if you want to play Derrick Henry, Vinny, right now, he's 1% owned.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like you look at it like anytime we've seen it happen and then you feel like, he's not going to do it again. Like there's so much tread on these tires. Every time Derrick Henry, people like just call him or count him out 1% owned. It's like, that's the game he goes for like 240. And it's like, shit.
But if they do get up, right? Like Jimmy was saying, like they're not going to ride him.
Yeah, I know. I get it. It's definitely risky, but I think, the same argument could be for Saquon. Like Sirianni's Galaxy brained it twice already this year where Saquon's just not involved in the game plan and he scores 7 points. Like it's happened twice.
It hasn't happened in a few weeks though, Vin.
I get it. Just saying.
All right.
I mean,
moving down, Kamara down to, Hubbard, 67 up to Kamara. Who's your guys in here?
I mean, dude, there's one guy who's just blatantly underpriced.
Who? Shout it out.
Brees.
Yeah.
Like how is Brees Hall 7,300?
Yeah.
Well, everybody else is along with that train as well because he's going to be about 35% owned.
I get it, man, but like we talk about like the point, like what he's been doing, like the dude's just...
it's hard to ignore. That's for sure. I think this is where why I like Bo Nix is because then I can jam two of these guys in together because very few people are going to play Brees and Mixon or Brees and Barkley, right? And if you play a Bo Nix, cheap Denver stack with just like Bo Nix and Troy Franklin or Sutton, right? Because Sutton, I mean, he's going to get some points. He just it was a weird week last week. Like you can jam two of these guys in there, no problem. I'm totally fine with doing that this week. I'm going to be playing some Brees. I might be pretty close to like even with the field on Brees, or I might just go way over the top. We'll see. I haven't really made my choice, but I mean, I'm with you. It's hard to get away from him at that price.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like the Buffalo stack, and I'm playing James Cook. He's completely healthy, nothing on the injury report. We've seen, what Seattle gives up in the run game. I don't know why Atlanta didn't try and run the ball more with Bijan last week, because he looked really good when he was running the ball.
Dude, he looks great.
And all the time. And I'll just go back to James Cook. He's getting less than 1% ownership right now. I'll stack him with Josh Allen and just those two. I'm perfectly fine doing that. I'm going to be playing a lot of Josh Allen this week, so I'm going to have the ability to stack him several different ways. But I'm definitely getting to some James Cook. I think James Cook might be a little bit overpriced. But I mean, we saw it, week 1 with Miami. He's got the ability to nuke the slate. And I don't think he's not going to do it every week like some of these other guys, but he's got the ability to do it. And I think that this could be one of the weeks with Buffalo on the road in Seattle.
Yeah, that's a good call. Joe?
I mean, there's Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, he looks so electric, and I don't think Detroit's going to have to do anything special on offense this week. They're going to pound the rock. And I don't say this often, and this is the one team you can do it with, but you can even put Gibbs and Montgomery in the same stack in a week like this. I just don't think the Lions need to really throw the ball. I can see Jared Goff only throwing the ball 16 to 18 times this week, and then running the ball 45 to 50 times between these two guys and just dominating. Right. The Tennessee's offense is an absolute joke. The Lions are probably just like, hey, let's just pound the rock. Let's get this game over with quick and get out of here with no injuries and get a dub. So I can see Gibbs and Montgomery splitting it up and just absolutely nuking both of them. I'm definitely interested in it.
For sure. I think going down, I mean, we got to continue playing your boy, James Conner, Joe. Talk about a guy who looks good too. He's a guy also, he's like the Amari Cooper running backs. They just don't ever raise his price.
100%. He is right on.
He's another guy like Josh Allen. Just play Kyler Murray and James Conner together and move on if you don't want to play the running back. If you don't want to play the wide receivers on that team.
That will be a stack no one has. If you go Kyler, Conner, bring it back with Tyreek. I don't think many people are doing that at all. So
not at all. I'm playing Josh Jacobs this week. I haven't played him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it. Everybody is like, oh man, Jordan loves chucking the ball. And I totally agree with all that. I'm not disagreeing with that, but there's going to be one of those weeks that Josh Jacobs just absolutely fucking explodes. And I think that this is the week. I think that he's going to be my bold call this week. I think that Josh Jacobs goes for 35 plus this week, and I think he has 3 touchdowns. So not only am I going to be betting it, just his props, I'm going to be laddering his touchdowns. I'm going to bet him for 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, and 3 touchdowns. I'm playing him in DFS quite a bit. 6,600. There's nobody else really playing running back for the Green Bay Packers right now. He's coming in at 8 or 9% owned. That's where I'm going to take a shot this week and get different, I guess. And I'm playing a lot of Josh Jacobs. I hope he doesn't fucking tear his hamstring on the 3rd carry.
We all hope for that. That's it. I like that. That's a good sneaky call, because that, like you said, there's just so many other people that people just want to immediately jam in. I mean, I love Jacobs, but he's just definitely a little bit forgotten in that Green Bay offense. So.
Yeah.
Low sixes. We're
moving down. I like A-Chain this week. He was looking really good last week. 15 carries, 77, and then obviously they had to start throwing the ball there behind. They were giving the ball to Mostert a lot. Everyone's just rallying to Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, and they're just thinking that's just going to blast. And hey, that might go off. But if you want to get contrarian, just do an A-Chain. Right. And then that's the guy that explodes this week as the pass game actually opens up some running lanes for this guy. Look, he gets 1 running lane, he's gone. Right. He's without a doubt probably one of the top explosive players on the entire slate. And he's 6,200. Yeah, he's in a slight timeshare, but you're looking for this guy to just break off 2 of them, which he is more than capable of doing. So I like the fact that Tua is coming back and this pass offense is actually going to improve. That's only going to help A-Chain.
For sure. Yeah. I think, dude, Jim always talks about this, play A-Chain with Tua and Tyreek. Overstack that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if Miami goes for 45 this week, which is not out of the realm of possibility, there's a shot they all get there. We've seen that happen a few times. So And if you do that and Miami goes for 40, like you're in serious business. So
well, and those guys are
I kinda
unique
like
players too, where they don't need a lot of touches to go 25 points.
Exactly.
Right? Like Tyreek, we've seen him do. Excuse me, we've seen him do it on like, I don't know, 4 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then A-Chain has like 12 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown, and then catches another one, and you're there, right? And Tua comes along with all of that. So, yeah, I think it's definitely something you have to think about doing. Yeah, I like that play a lot.
Yeah, and look, Miami just with Tua's in there again. This is not the Miami we've watched for the last 4 weeks. They play really well against average to below average teams.
Yep.
And Arizona is not a bad team, but they're in that average to below average category. And this is the kind of game that Miami can absolutely go off on. I don't play these Miami guys against good teams because they don't play well against good teams. But
Correct.
Arizona is not in that category. So line me up for some A-Chain. I'm going to have a lot of him.
All right.
Kareem Hunt's got to continue being played. Like,
yeah, you have to play Kareem Hunt. I mean, they just showed you against the Niners what their formula is going to be. Pacheco's going to come back pretty soon, so they do not care whatsoever about running Kareem Hunt into the ground.
Yep.
So against the Raiders, where I know you guys have interest in Mahomes, I would much rather just play a shitload of Kareem Hunt, because I think they're just going to do the exact same thing. And I think it now actually helps a little bit lighten up the boxes now that they do have DeAndre Hopkins, and it might help the just entire flow of the offense out a little bit. So, I mean, he got 2 touchdowns versus the Niners last week. There's no reason why he can't score 2 or 3 touchdowns versus the Raiders this week.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, I like that play quite a bit.
All right, cool. You guys going back to Chubb this week?
Nope.
Yeah. I think I'm going to avoid that. It's Jameis or nothing for me in that offense.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right.
Javonte?
How about Jamison Williams? Javonte Williams going against the worst team ever, right? Obviously, I hate playing running backs for Sean Payton because he just loves to like timeshare it up. But they were giving him some carries last week, and they really let him go. 14 carries. I mean, he had 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a beast on the goal line.
He's clearly their best back.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
very
it's
clear.
obvious, yeah.
So hopefully
obvious,
that
like-
they just like say, okay, like we'll just give it to the better player here.
You'd think.
We have been wrong before in the situation, but I'm going back to him. He's too cheap for against this defense. Like,
Yeah,
Carolina is
it's the Panthers.
dude.
It's the
Yeah.
Panthers.
What about below 6? What do we got?
I really like Chase Brown this week.
Dude, he burned me so bad last week, but
Yeah, but
that's
he's
just personal issues.
I mean, he burned you, but if you go back and look at the actual opportunities that he had, he is playing most of the first and second down.
I know.
Zach Moss really only came in and played on like third downs just because I think they trust him a little bit more in pass protection.
Yeah.
But in a game where I think that Cincinnati is going to be trailing, I like Chase Brown. You know, they're going to pay attention to Higgins. They're going to pay attention to Chase. There's going to have to be somebody else in the Bengals offense to step up to make some big plays. And I think that Chase Brown at 5,800, I think is just way too cheap for a guy that, you know, is getting the amount of opportunities that he's getting. So I'm fine with getting to him at 5,800. I don't think that's a reach or a stretch or anything.
Yeah. No,
Fair.
I think it's the right play for sure.
Anybody else down here? Joe Madison, your boy? Yes.
Dude,
No?
this Chiefs defense is nasty.
It's really good.
I'm
It's
okay.
real.
I'm not doing it.
The only other guy down here that I kind of like is Rachaad White. Like, Tampa's so decimated, they're gonna have to lean on these running backs. He could catch
He's
a
the
ton of
pass
balls.
catcher. Yeah, he's the pass catcher.
And Bucky Irving's banged up. Like, he might play, but he didn't practice again today. So I don't know. He's got a toe injury. So unless you can get him a toe by 3:00, I don't know.
If Bucky Irving does not play, I will have a significant amount of Rachaad White, and that scares the hell out of me. But like you said, you're basically paying $5,700 for a wide receiver too, because he had, you know, when you saw those guys go out and get hurt, They're playing from down last week, which I think that, this is going to be, people I don't know if everybody forgot, but like just a few weeks ago, this was that explosion game on Thursday night where there was like 80 points scored. Okay. So like now you're not going to have Chris Godwin, who put up like 38 fantasy points in that game. Now you're not going to have Mike Evans this week. So like you said, Vinny, I think a lot of people, like when we get to the ownership, are going to gravitate toward Kate Otten quite a bit because he's only 3,500. I'll be fine to pivot and go to Rashad White at 5,700. I think that's nice value there.
If Kate Otten even just suits up after the beating he took, I will play him just as
dude, he's fine.
He's not even on
that. He's not even on the injury report.
Dude, he was taking hits like the old Ed McCaffrey days. Like he was just getting destroyed every time.
That was 1997 jacked up ESPN segment all over again, dude. None of them were penalties.
And every time he would catch and take a step and get completely high load and land on his head, and I'm like, how is this guy still walking?
Dude, he was reaching for balls so high that his fucking jersey looked like he was wearing a midriff. Like his nipples were almost showing catching the ball because Baker was just fucking chewing on Zins like they're fucking Tic Tacs on the sideline and overthrowing him. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna just pull a lat or something trying to go up and catch one of these.
The best is when the game was clearly over with a minute left and he was still throwing hospital balls to Otten. It was okay, take a knee, man.
just make yourself throw up give yourself the old finger and make yourself throw up on the sidelines.
It's fantastic. But
right,
no,
guys.
That's where I'm at running back.
All right, let's move on to receiver.
All right.
Let's stay high here. A lot of these high-owned guys are
I bet you would.
Right.
We're not low.
Not low. Let's go 7K and up. I'll start off. AJ Brown, sign me up. The dude is looking unreal as usual. And
guy's
just a
unbelievable.
freak.
And the reality is, because of Saquon, they're not really able to double cover him. They got to somewhat load the box against Philly. And AJ Brown's getting a lot of one-on-ones. And Jalen Hurts throws a pretty deep ball, right? He's very much like Russell Wilson in a lot of ways, where he's going to throw it up. He's going to throw the high lob. And AJ Brown just going to go get it and win, right? He 5 catches last week, and he still almost got 30 points. He's too good to avoid. And again, at 8,200, he should be priced higher. No one's really creeping up into that 9,500 range yet, and you got to take advantage of that.
I'm with you, Jim. Above 7K, what are you looking at?
Man, I don't know. I think that
let's take Tyreek out because we've already hit on that.
We've already talked about Tyreek. He's just so expensive that I want to get exposure to him. But Jamar Chase at 8,500 is just
that's.
I don't know, man.
So all right. So I've been toying with this all week. He's been getting out targeted. He's down. Everyone's down on him a little bit. Now he gets this premier matchup versus the Eagles. AJ Brown. Is this not the type of game where he can go for 45 points?
He can always do that.
You know what I mean? And just going toe to toe with AJ Brown, and this thing just absolutely goes so nuclear that it blows the whole slate up.
Yeah,
it's possible.
So he's super expensive, but I will have a few shares of him. But
I'm going to be playing probably the same dollar amount this week, but I'm going to be playing different tournaments just so I can play some more lineups because of the big slate. I want to mix and match some of these situations, and Chase is one of the ones where I feel like I just have to get exposure to it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he's one of those guys that has legitimate 40-point upside on the slate.
I can just see this game getting going. And if you know what I mean, it's just bomb after bomb back and forth. Both teams, Saquon's house in one, AJ Brown's house in one. Chase takes a deep ball, and it's oh my God, this game's gonna go 65 points.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah. So
all right, scrolling down here, below 7,000. So Terry or 69, nice. 69 down to 6,000.
I already said I like DJ Moore quite a bit
Okay.
against this Washington defense. So that's a guy I'm kind of looking at.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep playing Brian Thomas Jr. He's clearly the number one option there in Jacksonville, and in a game where I think Jacksonville's going to have to throw the ball a ton. I've been super impressed with the guy. 6,400. I think he should be priced closer to like Garrett Wilson and Jaden Reed based on his target volume and his usage. So at 6,400, I think you're getting probably $300 to $400 value on that player, and I'm going to have quite a bit of them because of it. Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Jaden Reed. Going to stay with that Packers run, right? He burned a lot of people last week. 2 catches, 10 yards. He's a little bit banged up, but he's going to play. It looks like he's fine. He practiced a limited capacity today, so like he's fine. He is their number one receiver, and he's going to get a lot of shots. And he's going to get a lot of touchdown opportunities. He's not a guy that's like you're trusting on him to like break one or something, but Jordan Love is targeting him downfield a lot. And especially towards the red zone, he's targeting him a lot. He's obviously his number one receiver, and they're throwing the ball 35 plus times a game. So give me Jaden Reed on a week after, burning a lot of people.
Do we know if DK is going to play?
He wants to play. But he's got a sprained MCL, and
so I just saw an updated. So Seahawks coach Mike McDonald said Wednesday that Metcalf will miss Seattle's next 2 practices, and then have his MCL reevaluated Friday before the team makes a decision. So it doesn't sound like it's a great chance for him to play. So
I wouldn't think so.
That's what I needed to hear. Okay.
I do think your guy that you mentioned earlier, Amari Cooper, is very much in play.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I mean, the guy played 12 snaps and had like 6 or 7 targets.
12 snaps, 5 targets, or I'm sorry, 7 targets and 4 catches. So,
he had no idea what the plays were either, and Josh Allen was like, "I don't care. Like I'm just gonna throw."
I'm just gonna fucking force feed him the ball. We'll figure it out later. Yeah, I think you just have to play him. You could see it as soon as he came into that offense, everything kind of worked again, right? Yeah. Shakir had 7 targets, 7 catches, 72 yards, right? Just an easy 14 points. If he falls into the end zone, he's over 20, right? Kincaid was getting, he had, I think, 4 catches on 6 targets. Like the offense just flows so much better now that they have a legitimate wide receiver, and it opened things up for Coleman, who had the big game, right?
Yeah.
So now you've got multiple different stacking options where you can mix and match with Josh Allen, but they're going to look, he's just like on the Browns or when he was on the Cowboys or when he was on the Raiders. He is a dominant red zone wide receiver and a big body who knows how to position himself properly in the red zone. And Josh Allen knows that. He's just going to look for him and go to him quite a bit. So, I haven't even looked at his I don't really even care what his ownership is, but it's at like 12%. So yeah, that's completely fine with me.
And I'll be going back to Xavier Worthy. He didn't do much last week, but he still had 8 targets. And I like the fact that Hopkins is in the game. Worthy's not a number 1, right? That's not what he's meant to be. He's meant to be a guy that gets in a matchup that's very tasty. And he's going to have a lot of those this week, right? Jimmy always talk about Raiders linebackers and coverage, and he's going to have he's going to have room to run from the slot. And look, the Chiefs always have highlight reel type plays. I just think Worthy at least gets 1 touchdown this week.
Dude, I think that's a great call. Like if you're going to play Mahomes, I think Worthy's the guy you go with.
Totally.
Because I could for sure see Mahomes like screwing around in this one, like if they're up. And trying to hit like 70-yard bombs to this guy. You know what I mean? Like that's
I think
what they're gonna do.
Well, the Chiefs have a really good coaching staff, right? And I think that, obviously we expect them to win this game. It could be close, right? But even if they're up, they're gonna call up plays to try and continue to build this guy's confidence because they're gonna need him for later in the year, right? They're trying to find out. Andy Reid's trying to find out right now, like what plays work the best for him, what routes is he most comfortable running, what schemes does, his particular skill set fit well within, right?
Yeah.
I played a shitload of Worthy last week. It didn't work out. I'm going to go right back to it too, Joe. I just think it's they didn't really move his price. Like he came down $200. He's 1% owned. No one's going to play him.
Wow.
No one's going to play him. And you don't have to play him with Mahomes either. Like if you just want to play him, I think is a one-off. I think it's totally fine.
And look, the Raiders corners, right? I like Bennett. He's a decent corner, but he's not a burner type corner that's going to keep up with this guy, number one. On the other side, you have Jack Jones, which he is the Marcus Peters. He's a lesser version of Marcus Peters, where he's going to take shots and try to get pick sixes. And like, there's really big opportunities to just get burned by someone like an Xavier Worthy and downfield shots. So the matchup's great. And if there's one player that you play, with Mahomes, it's going to be Worthy for sure. Or just playing without Mahomes, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, moving down.
Well, there's a shitload of guys down here.
So I'm not playing really too much on the 4Ks because there's like 6 guys in the 3s that I'm just going to mix and match.
Okay.
I'm going to have one of these 3K guys in all of my lineups.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll go through the list.
So it's Shepard, McMillan, and
Shepard, McMillan. I'm going to take some shots on Trey Palmer as well. Like he was playing when even both of the Godwin and Evans are in. So those are your 3 receivers to Tampa now. I'm going to take some. Sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
So I am going to fade Trey Palmer just because he's going to be double what the other 2 are going to be owned.
Okay. I see. I haven't looked at ownership yet.
So Trey Palmer's, I don't disagree with your thought process, but Trey Palmer's coming in at like 22% owned.
Okay.
And McMillan is going to be 9 and Shepard is going to be 5.
So I personally like McMillan the most, but ownership will obviously come into play. So I didn't know that. So, okay, that makes sense. The other 2 guys down here, Tim Patrick, who was number 3 receiver before Jameson Williams went down. He's going to get elevated to that 2 role. And Cedric Tillman in Cleveland, who had 8 targets last week. Jerry Jeudy sucks. Who's the other guy there? Who else is in Cleveland? Who are these other guys?
Elijah Moore,
terrible. It's Cedric Tillman.
Look, Elijah Moore's going to catch the ball at about 0 to 2 yards every time.
Yeah,
do nothing with it. Nothing with it.
So
no, thank you.
Okay, so you take into account Palmer saying so. There's 4 guys really. I might sell a little Palmer, but I'm saying is like I think you could just dump one of these guys in a lineup, spread it out because some of these guys are going to hit, and if they do at 3,300, it opens up so much on the slate. Yeah. Like you were talking, you can get your AJ Brown and Chase. You can get double barrel high running back if you want. Like you can do a lot with these 3K.
I have another kind of disgusting one down here. It's right next to Tillman.
3K guy.
Yeah, Jake Bobo.
He's DK misses.
He's the slot in guy for DK. Everyone will go, oh well, JSN will play more and blah blah. No, he will slot in at the X where DK plays. Like he's not a fast guy. He's was one of the slowest wide receivers in his draft class at the 40. But like even when DK's in, like they throw that guy the ball, he gets like 3 to 4 targets a game, which is weird. But like there's an obvious rapport there with Gino, and at 3,300, like there's lineups that I've like toyed around with already where I'm playing Bobo and Tillman both, so I can jam in Barkley, Hall, and then other elite receivers with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so much value here. Franklin's 4,100, but I know you guys laughed at me the last time that that guy Devon Vele in Denver gets targets, 3-4 targets. If you're playing the Bo Nix thing, like he's 3,400. That's what there's so many 3K guys. I'm just gonna have a hodgepodge of all of them like spread out throughout my lineups.
All right,
I like
Joe. That. Anybody you got down here? Any weird plays? We're not really. Ben didn't really hit on anybody in the 4s. Is there anybody you really like in the 4s, or just not really?
No, not really. Nothing that I'm like, okay, I'm shoving this guy in my lineups. If Jaden Daniels plays, I'll definitely run some Noah Brown in there because, like, again, like he's gonna have a week where he just explodes.
He's getting a lot of targets. Yeah, he's getting a lot of targets. So.
And he just has that kind of ability in him to just have like an explosion type of game. So if it's Mariota, no thank you. If it's Jaden Daniels, definitely I'll have some Noah Brown. But everyone else, I mean, you guys mentioned everybody. Vinny, you're right. Running back is a week. This is a week you want to go up at running back. You got to get a little weird at receiver, and there's a lot of really good options in the 3K range here at wide receiver. So,
and again,
make the building some lineups easy.
If one or two of these lineups, if that guy gets you 10, 12 points at 3K, 3,300, like, and you can, it allows you to get up to like Saquon and Mixon or Saquon and like Chase or whatever. Like, dude. That's just a game changer with lineups that a lot of people aren't going to have.
Yeah, for sure. Tight end.
Ooh,
we are back.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. Well, we already touched on our boy Otten. Like, have to lock him in. The Iron Man.
Let me see. He's not even that owned.
I don't know why.
He's 2% owned. What the fuck? Is it? No, that's right. 2% owned.
That's insane.
That might change my we're trying to guess like
you play some Baker stats?
I mean, I might have to. With Otten, I mean it's an easy stack to play like Baker, Otten, and then I like McMillan the most.
Yeah.
And then you can just run it back with Saquon and Drake London, and then there you go.
I mean, dude, the one I almost took down that GPP 2 weeks ago, I had 4 guys. So you go Baker, play Rashad White, play McMillan, and play Adon.
So I can play Baker and I can play McMillan. And these are like legitimate people who are going to be on the field and like not that highly owned.
Yes.
If I start with those 3 guys and then like a defense, so who's a cheap defense?
Patriots.
Just real quick.
2,500.
Patriots. So if I start with those 4, I now have an average of $6,700 a player. Like you can easily just jam in Saquon and Mixon.
You can go Saquon, Mixon, Tyreek easily in a lineup. Easily.
Okay. I'm just building this right now. Yeah. So if you put Saquon and Mixon in with Tyreek, you've got a wide receiver and a flex, and you got 5,300 per spot.
So money. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, that makes things easy this week.
All right. Joe's the guy, but is there any other tight ends that?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep running back. I'm gonna keep running back Njoku. He's just a big upside play. Like Jameis is gonna throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna be playing from behind the entire time. And I think Njoku has another great game. I mean, he had 10 catches on 14 targets last week with 3 different quarterbacks. Right. And look, Winston's going to be hucking and chucking, and they don't have receiver options, right? Like huge receiver options. Like we're talking about Tillman being the guy. Like, yeah, I hope he goes off. I'm going to play him this week. But I mean, there's no one there. Yeah, so Njoku's like the number 1 wide receiver at 5,100 with a quarterback that's going to throw the ball and take chances. So,
yeah,
sign me up for more Njoku.
Do you guys have any interest in playing Bowers? Because I know he's been amazing, but I gotta imagine the Chiefs are like, let's just take this guy out and like let the Raiders just sink, right?
Yeah, Spagnuolo did it to Kittle last week on a much better offense. Niners have a lot of issues, but Spagnuolo realized very quickly as soon as Debo wasn't playing that they just shifted all their coverage to Kittle and didn't let Kittle do shit.
Yeah, I mean, like Bowers maybe the best receiving tight end in the game already, and like they're just gonna stop. They're gonna put 2 guys on him and bracket them all.
Yeah. I probably I just like other guys. I have interest in I'm gonna play Travis Kelce because I just like playing tight ends.
You're just a T-Swift homer.
No, I'm gonna play fucking your stupid Mahomes stat.
That wasn't my suggestion. That was Joe's.
So there you go. So I'm gonna play Mahomes worthy.
What's that supposed to mean?
Take it easy.
The fuck's that supposed to mean?
Hey, take it easy.
So, yeah, okay. I mean, I personally, the
that
guy I'm going.
That was like the awkward like dinner moment when like dad yells at mom and it's like, whoa,
fuck. I am going to Sam Laporta this week. There's no Jameson Williams. It's just one of those weird out of the blue. He's going to be 2% owned, so it's not like I don't have to play like a ton of them. But he's only $4,800, so like I'm fine with chucking him into a couple of lineups without Jameson Williams on the field. It's just one. I mean, he only had one catch last week, but I think that this is one of those weird games where, like, again, he's going to have a couple of those big games throughout the year. He's kind of like what Kittle used to be a few years ago, right? Where he would just have like these amazing games and then disappear for a few weeks. Kittle's been pretty consistent this year and last year. I'm going to get to Laporta in a couple of lineups, and then I'm going to get to Kmet in a couple of Caleb stacks that I'm playing, because at 1% owned and a guy who's so involved in the offense, I mean, all of those great receivers on the Bears and Roma Dunze kind of coming into his own, I think opens up a lot of the middle of the field for Cole Kmet. And, 4,700, but 1% owned. I would much rather go there than Tucker Kraft this week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Joe, do you have anybody else down here? I've got one guy that's going to really make you guys upset, but
go for it.
Hey, you can't say time out. You can't say Dancing Rick. He's dead. He's been a healthy scratch for 3 weeks. He's dead. Okay.
It's not Dancing Rick. It's not.
Okay.
I've come to grips with that.
Go ahead. Who?
It's going to be Taysom Hill.
I knew it.
Dude, the Saints have nothing else. They are going to give him the ball. You watch on Sunday. They are going to move fully into like a wildcat formation.
I'm going to have to play it now. I hate it so fucking much.
So do I. But when he goes for 2 touchdowns in the red zone, it's going to be awesome. And he's 3,900.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too cheap.
Sure.
Sorry, guys.
Joey, do you have anybody cheap here? I still...
Man, Dancing Rick really triggered you.
Dude, you were pumping that guy's tires for like a year and a half, and he has like one good game. Vinny, it's over. Okay. I'm still just trying to figure out why no one wants to play Kate Otten, and that everyone would rather play Grant Calcaterra, who did nothing last week. I mean, he's like the next Dancing Rick.
He's not as good.
What about Will Dissly? He had a decent game.
Not just decent, dude. That dude looked like a fucking dude last week.
First off, did you see him with his helmet off?
No.
That guy needs to shave it. That guy.
Is that a prime contact Guy Haberman? Is that a prime shave it or save it?
Hold on. All right, you guys keep talking. I'm gonna find the picture.
Isn't he a redhead too?
I don't know. It was just like scraggly and like he was losing it, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
I thought he was a redhead, and I thought he looked like one of the second cousins of the O'Doyles. Right? I was just ready for him to hit no O'Doyle rules after a first down. How great of a celebration would that be? By the way,
that would be great.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is kind of red, but it's hard to tell. But like. Dude, when it was like,
he looks like an O'Doyle. Look it up.
When it was all sweaty, it was like scraggly, but like the middle of his head had no hair. I was like, what is going on here? But yeah, he balled out. I would play some of them. In all seriousness.
Okay, he balled out. I like it. It's fine. Disley's fine. Disley rules.
It's not as good as Nets, but.
Let's move on to defense.
All right. What do you guys got down low? One defense.
I mean,
everybody knows.
You mentioned the Patriots. Definitely an interesting play if you want to get low here. I'm having a hard time with any of these other teams down low. I feel like we like all the offenses that go against these guys, like they're priced correctly.
I know.
So the Pats are definitely interesting if you need to go down low. But is there anyone else down low you guys are interested in? If not, let's start moving up.
I think the Bears at 2,700 are interesting, especially if Mariota is going to play, and their ownership might creep up a little bit, but right now at like 3% owned at 2,700, I think it's a way to get different for sure. Coming off a bye, they'll be pretty fresh. Mariota does some weird shit, for me, it's either that or I'm going all the way up to the Chiefs against the Raiders.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
Okay.
Chiefs, Bears, Patriots are my 3 this week.
All right.
Okay.
Like always, I'll splash around.
Yeah, I mean defense, whatever.
I mean, I like the Texans defense going against Anthony Richardson, which is an absolute dumpster fire.
You and everybody else are going to be about 17% off.
Yeah, they're too low. They're too low priced for how good the defense is for who they're going against. So yeah, I mean, you might have to eat the ownership there, to be honest, if you need to like save some money and get down to that 3,100 range. But I like that.
But see, then I'd rather just play the Bears at 27.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What do we got for bold calls of the week?
Well, I kind of already said mine is Josh Jacobs. I think he goes for 30. I'll say 35 plus.
35. Josh Allen.
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, Josh Jacobs.
The running back. My favorite stack, since I've kind of talked about it ad nauseum already, is going to be the Bills.
Okay. Joe.
Jameis Winston goes for 20 points this week.
The nuke show.
That's not bold. That's like fucking. That's like 4x. That's
All
not
right.
even. That's like 3.8x.
Let's go up to 27. Let's get him up to the 5x range.
There we go.
Let's get bold.
That's a bold call.
All right. So
That means
that's your favorite stack or just your bold call?
That's my bold. I mean, come on. It's as bold as it gets. It's Jameis going off.
That means
bold would be like he throws 4 pick sixes and 4 touchdowns. Like
I can see him throwing 8 touchdowns for the other team. I can see that for sure.
the football version of the 4x4.
Like
instead in and out, you're saying 4 pick
Lamar only takes like 7 snaps because they just don't have the ball. Oh man. All right. Oh, who'd you say is your favorite stack, Joe?
Oh, we're doing stack. It's the Packers.
Okay.
Packers game, right? And you run it back with our boy Brian Thomas Jr. And then you also can run it back with some Ingram if you want to as well. I feel like there's some solid run backs in that game. So just on both sides, out of all the games on here, I kind of just like the options on both sides. If you're again getting away from the Miami Arizona game, which everyone's going to be on, but that game just makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I like that.
Bold call for me is Bo Nix finishes as a top 3 quarterback this week on the slate. So I don't know what that means point wise, but you can kind of do the math. He's going to outscore a lot of these jabronis priced above him. And then I'm going, oh man, are we sure Tua's playing?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
He's playing.
All right. I'm rolling with Miami then.
I have not heard anything to the contrary of him not playing.
Okay. So I'm rolling with Miami. I think there's ways to get different and creative with that stack, even though I'm sure Tyreek's going to be mega chalk. But like you said, Joe, you can slam A-Chan or A-Chain in there. You can overstack it with Waddle and Tyreek. You can do a bunch of different things. So I'm just going to ride that. It's such a huge slate. You can get different in other areas, but I think they blow up here.
Okay. I like it.
Cool.
Sounds good, guys. Let's
all right,
boys.
boys.
Have a good week. Let's have a good weekend. And I'm gonna have a showdown show out for Sunday night. I'll have it out tomorrow morning or sometime whenever Vinny posts it, but I'm gonna record it in the morning. Sweet. And then we should be good. Hopefully that showdown goes better than tonight's showdown did, because it didn't go very well tonight. So
yeah, let's hope the Niners don't spike themselves on national television.
Win some, win some, and you lose some.
Amen, brother. All right.
All right, guys.